Hello, hi, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about what I've learned in 2 years of marriage slash some advice for maybe some newlyweds. I don't know. If you're new here, my name is Natalie. I got married 2 years ago in September, so I am so excited to be sharing some advice slash what I've learned in 2 years of being married. I am so sorry about that. Just got a phone call. 2 years ago in September on the 16th, me and my husband got married. We have known each other for a very long time. I actually met him at the cafe that I worked at. We were close friends for a little while. He asked me out and I said no because I wasn't really sure about how I felt about him. This was in like 2020. And then we had about 2 months of like not talking to each other because he was very much like, well, I really like you, and if you don't like me like that, I think I need some time and some space to kind of get over you. And then it was around my birthday where we got in contact again and started talking and started hanging out. And of course 2020 was all the lockdown, so I feel like we also had time to explore and to figure out what we were outside of being friends. So we kind of took that jump into a relationship, and it wasn't long until we got engaged and got married. So anyway, fast forward to 2 years, fast forward to the present. And I guess let me tell you some things that I've learned about marriage. So I've always known that marriage would be really hard. I had so many people telling me that, especially at a young age. I was 22 when I got married. I'm 24 now. My partner is also my husband is 8 years older than me. That's also a little bit of a tricky dynamic as well, but I'll go into that a bit later. But yeah, so I've always known that marriage would be hard, but I think I didn't expect it to be this type of hard. Like, I don't know, I thought that marriage would be hard in the sense of finances and, you know, being out on your own kind of thing and navigating your relationship. Now you live together, now your finances are together. Now you've got to figure out your future as well. And yeah, I always kind of thought that that's where marriage is hard. Marriage is hard when you have kids and that kind of thing. But I didn't expect it to be hard in these ways, I guess, that I'm about to talk about. And I didn't think it would be hard as an individual as well. I think that to me, it was all just together. Everything about marriage was together. But a lot of it is, but a lot of it is also, well, I'm still figuring out who I am. I'm 24, and then there's my husband who's 31, and, you know, you're trying to figure out things individually. Oh, should I take this job or should I do this? But then you're also trying to work together. The first one, my husband would laugh at this, is don't trust your hormones. So this one's for the women out there. So many times that month will roll around and I'll get really mad at my husband about things that I'm not usually mad at, or I'll want to start an argument about something that's utterly ridiculous, or I'm just teary all the time, or, you know, I'm not getting enough attention just because I'm in that phase, you know, phase of my cycle. My mind goes into an absolute spin thinking that he hates me and we don't love each other anymore and our love is not the same as it used to be anymore. And that's just not the case. So many times that I would start an argument and Corey would just be like, oh, what time of the month is it? Like, you're not normally like this and now you're being like this. But then I get angry because I'm like, don't blame my hormones for this. It's not my hormones' fault, it's your fault, but it's actually my hormones' fault. So yeah, ladies, just be aware that when that time of month comes around, or when you're PMSing or whatever it is, to be aware of how you are and how you're reacting to things. Is it really his fault? Or is it just your hormones speaking? It's definitely something that Corey has brought to my attention. Not to say that he should get away with certain things, but a lot of the time, when I'm about to get my period or I have my period, that is when things start to get like bad. I think he just figured out a pattern of it. He's like, you weren't like this like a month ago, and now all of a sudden you're like this. Oh, every month it's like this. So now that I'm kind of more aware of that, I take into account my hormones over like something that he's done. Anyway, so ladies, be aware of your feelings at that time. Okay, the next one I have on here is talk it out. There has been so many times where I've been worried to talk about something to my husband. His name's Corey, so I'm just going to say Corey. Times that I've been worried to bring something to his attention or talk to him about something, or even if it's to do with our future or something and how I'm feeling or something in our relationship that I don't feel is right. I always get a little bit scared of bringing those things up, but then half the time when we talk about it, I feel so much better because A, it's off my chest, and B, it wasn't that hard. Like, he didn't react. Not that I was thinking that he would react in like a negative way. It was more just like, I was scared to bring this up and bring his attention to it. But then half the time we're on the same page anyway. So it's like not a big deal. When you brought that thing up to your spouse, you can work together on it to fix it. And like, there's something that I will bring up and then he'll make a different point. And I'll be like, oh, actually, I didn't really see that, like, your side of things. Like, I only saw my side of things. Again, working as individuals and then together. So, like, I wouldn't see that side of things. And now I'm just like, oh, okay, that makes sense now, because I was just thinking about me the whole freaking time. Half the time as well, I think it's so funny when you just know your spouse or your partner so well, where like half the time these conversations have been brought up in the car. Like, we'll be driving something, we'll come back and he'd be like, all right, what's wrong? You've been like this for like 2 days now. What's going on? Why can't you just talk to me? Why can't you just tell me about this? And so he will always bring it up instead of like me being, oh, hey, like, we need to talk about something. He's always very much like, so, okay, something's going wrong. What is it? Let's talk about it. And then we can work through it. So make sure you talk it out. This next one is a big one, and it's make sure you make time for each other. So earlier on, we had these 2 different jobs where we were just ships passing in the night. Like, I would come home from work, he'd leave for work, and then by the time he got home, I was asleep, and then he was asleep, and then I'd wake up, and then I'd go to work, and then it'd change. So we literally saw each other one day in the week. And because we just never saw each other, it was almost like we had this roommate relationship where it was kind of like, well, because now I don't see you ever, I'm so used to not having you around, so I'll just go do my own thing. So it's really important to make time for each other. Thankfully, that season of our work and stuff like that has finished, so we're not ships passing in the night anymore. We have multiple days together, which is very nice. But I've learned how important. Can you like stop? Thank you. Canceling plans for other people in order to spend time and prioritize your spouse is probably even better than going and doing that thing where you're not going to spend time on or one-on-one quality time with your spouse. So see where that's needed. Be like, okay, wait, we haven't spent time together this week. How about we just not go to that party or not hang out with that person or not hang out with your family today. Let's just go have a date night or something like that. It's okay. It's okay. And you know what? Half the time people get it. Half the time I have told people, I'm like, look, hey, sorry, I'm canceling plans. I just haven't seen Corey for like the whole entire week. Like, and I know it's silly because some people just don't understand, especially if you're a shift worker. They don't get that. They're like, okay, well, you sleep with him. And I'm like, yeah, that's not the same thing. That is not the same thing. Yeah, so even just tell people, just be like, look, hey, I can't do this. I haven't seen my husband, and they'll get it. Learn how just making that time for each other, even if you have 1 day a week where you see your partner, being like, okay, that day we are going on a date night, or that day we're having dinner together, or that day we are doing like getting coffee, or whatever it is, where you can be like, okay, no, we are spending that quality time together. That's super important. So even now, our work is a little bit over the place, but there's a conversation that we've had recently, get out these days where we can go, okay, yep, on Mondays, this is what's happening. So then we can chill out this time or whatever it is. Even if you have a show at nighttime where you're like, okay, we can have dinner together and watch our show, and that's our quality time spent together, and then we can go to bed. Anything like that, that is super important. to just be like, okay, no, we have to spend this quality time together, even though we might not see each other that much during the week. Okay, so you know this phrase, I think it comes from the Bible somewhere, where it says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. I remember writing this in people's wedding cards, not being married, and being like, oh, you know, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Me and my husband never do that. False. I was so wrong with this, because even though, yeah, it's a nice thing to kind of wish and to want, of like not going to bed angry at each other. I get that. I understand. It sounds nice, right? But sometimes after an argument, you need that space. You need that quiet time. And sometimes you need a day. I can't tell you how many times where I'm like, Corey and I just haven't spoken to each other an entire day, because I'm like, I just can't deal with you right now until this thing and this issue is fixed. I'm not talking to you. And half the time I'm not in the right headspace to talk to him about that argument. Like, I can't even frame words, or I can't even frame my point properly to bring to him. So, and you know what? He feels the same way. Okay. So sometimes in your marriage, you will need space, and you will go to bed angry at each other. And that's okay. You're not perfect. Okay. You need a day. Take a day. You talk to each other every day. I'm sure one day off of talking to each other is okay. Some arguments just fixes overnight, and you're like, oh, we're both stupid. So sorry about that. And you make up, all right? And sometimes as well, I think a lot of the time we always want to hear an apology, and sometimes we might not get that apology. The little things though, the apologies in the little things of like, oh, here's some flowers and chocolate, or let's have a cuddle. That's where the apology is, okay? You gotta not necessarily always look for the, I'm so sorry this happened, or I'm so sorry I did this, or whatever it is. You can't always look for the, I'm so sorry, okay? Yes, in some cases, a sorry is definitely needed. But sometimes where it's a little argument where neither of you might be wrong or right, okay? You need to be like, oh, all right, let's just move on. Let's just have a cuddle session, or let's just get some flowers, or I've made you dinner, or whatever it might be. My next point is know that the devil is always trying to tear you apart. I'm very glad that I was raised in a Christian home where I understood this. I understood that a couple that is in Christ and is following Jesus will have so many more like problems and issues and hurdles to get over, because the devil is constantly attacking you. You know, he doesn't want you to be together. He wants to tear you apart, okay? There are arguments and things that happen in your marriage that will get you probably to that breaking point at some times, but you have made a vow to your partner. Also made that vow with God to never leave them because you are married to them, okay? I'm not going to go into the whole divorce thing and what I believe about divorce, all right? I'm not getting into that. That's a conversation that I will never probably have on the internet. Anyway, but if you are growing as a couple in God, you will be under attack by the devil. And to be aware of this, just letting you know, from everything you do, from church on Sundays to finances to little bitter arguments here and there, be aware of how the devil plays his games and walk with your eyes open. Sometimes you will have arguments where you're like, where is this even coming from? Like, this is not even you right now. Okay, there are times where I think a lot of Christians suffer with the Sunday morning random things that will happen, and you're like, well, you were perfectly fine yesterday and now you're not. No, the devil doesn't want you to go to church. So anyway, your relationship is under attack 24/7. So just be aware of that and have open eyes. My other one is cherish all the small moments. I kind of love this one. Like, this one has been something that I've just really been paying attention to of late. And I think that's why I'm just like, oh, this has like really gotten me all of a sudden. So many times we want lavish date nights, we want fancy things, we want to go to the movies, you want to get dressed up and go to dinner, and all of those things are beautiful, okay? I understand. But the times I remember most are the times we're laughing our heads off about something so stupid, okay? And we are having this funny little giggling session. Or we're playing board games with dinner, or getting coffee, or sitting on the bed eating a bag of chocolate bullets and looking at reels. Like, whatever it is, those small moments are the moments where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I love this. I love being married. I love that this is our life. I love the fact that we can have dinner together and we can play some board games, or we can laugh our heads off over the stupidest thing. You know, those moments are the moments where I feel so in love, if that makes sense. Like, it's in those small moments where I feel like the fancy things are stripped away. The fancy things of, you know, dinners and luxuries like that are stripped away, and you can just be so yourself around someone that's like super important to me. And those are the moments that I honestly cherish. And yes, dinners and dates are lovely and special, but now I think about things in terms of having kids, of like, what will the moments you and your spouse like cherish, where you don't have the ability to be like, oh, let's go tonight for a date night. Like, no, you have to book that in. You have to be like, oh, we need to get a babysitter to look after the baby so that we can go have a date night. And I'm sure those times will come where we will be so excited to go out on a date night. But those small things, if you can cherish them now, I think that you can definitely cherish them once you have kids. Yeah, so cherish the small moments with your spouse. Yes, always goes for dates still, always do those things, but I think that money is such like a big thing these days, especially with this economy where people are trying to save. So you probably won't go out as often as you'd like on dates, but those small things, even if it's just like, let's drive to Macca's and get an ice cream. Like, I'm not kidding you. These moments are the moments that I cherish the most. So I think that's kind of it of like, I don't know, I feel like I've probably learned so much more than just those few points. But you know, well, how much time do we have? I feel like I've learned a lot more, but maybe a lot of you might be watching this being like, well, I've learned all of those things outside of marriage, and that's okay. This is my experience. Maybe you'll learn different things in marriage, but some advice to newlyweds, maybe I can possibly give that to you, is just cherish everything. Cherish the fun and exciting time of being newlyweds, of going on honeymoons and calling your husband, and, you know, all of that is so fun and so exciting. Yeah, it's not gonna like clear cut end, like that honeymoon phase ends, like it really doesn't, because if you are with the right person, that continues, and you fall so much more in love with your partner as time goes on as well, because as you have these challenges and as you try and get better as an individual for your spouse, you're very much like, oh, okay, like this part of me has grown now, or I'm a better version of myself beforehand as well. So that's what I meant at the start, where I said that you're working on stuff as individuals, but you're also working as a relationship together. So you are working on yourself to get better for that person, but you're also working on yourself for you as well. Yeah, so it's fun. Let me tell you, it's fun. It's challenging. It's a lot different. I don't think as I went into marriage with the idea of like, yeah, I know it's hard. It's fine. Yeah, it's hard, but like, I love it so much, and it's such a wonderful journey to be on with your favorite person in the entire world. And I'm excited for the year ahead. I'm excited for what might be coming in the year ahead. Yeah, every day is a different day, but every day you're getting better. So I think that's the good thing. Hopefully this advice helped you. And if it did, give it a like, give it a comment. Yeah, and let me know. Anyway, love goes out to all of my newlyweds out there, or all of my married couples. Bye.